Hello everyone, you're welcome back to my channel. My name is Joy White. Thank you so much for stopping by. Please, if this is the first time you're checking on my channel, kindly hit on that subscribe button and turn on your notification bell so that you get notified whenever I post a new video. Thank you. So guys, in today's video I'm going to show you how I made this wing collar neckline top that you are seeing on your screen. That is what we are going to be doing today. So I have my pattern paper folded already. Because this is a wing collar neckline, we have to fold our pattern paper. So I'm not going to go down from the pattern paper with 1 inch to get the starting point. No, I'll be starting from the beginning of that pattern paper. So to get our wing collar neckline, the first thing we'll do is to go ahead and determine how much we want to use for the wing collar, either 4 inches, 5 or 6 inches. So between 4 and 6 inches is actually okay. So I'm using 6 inches and that is what I have marked at, and I have ruled the line. This is 6 inches. That is how high I want it to be. So from this point is where we'll be taking our chest line. So to get the chest line, you have to divide the bust measurements. Bust divided by 6 plus 1.5 plus 1. And when I did that, I got 9 inches. So I have connected the line. So this is going to be our chest line. So after doing that, the next point we'll be taking is our shoulder to the bust point. So the shoulder to the bust point I'm using is 11.5. I have ruled it out and this is what we have. So after that, the next thing we'll be doing is to take the shoulder to the waistline. So the shoulder to the waistline is 18.5. I am going to mark it down just as you see me doing, and I will connect both points together. So at this point, the next thing we'll be doing is to take from this waistline, I will go down with 9 inches. So I'm going down from the waistline with 9 inches to get the hip line. So I'm going to place a mark on it and I will connect it. So this is also going to serve as our hemline. So this 9 inches I came down with from the waistline is going to serve as the hemline of our top. So now the next thing we'll be doing is to take the shoulder measurement, which is 7.5, 15 inches divided by 2. I have done that already. I am going to connect both points together. Thereafter, we'll go ahead and mark out the neck width for this wing collar neckline. So I'm using a neck width of 3.5. I'm still going to adjust this neck width later on. So now I'm going to go ahead and come down for the shoulder slope with 1.5. I have done that already and I have connected it. So from the chest line, I'm going to place my tape and go up with 3 inches, and I will go in with 0.5 or 0.75. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and connect it just to get the armhole. Sorry, that is not a straight line. I'm going to redraw that line again. So this is why I always suggest you use a pencil while drafting. So because I want it very visible, that is why I'm using a marker pen. So now I'm going to connect the armhole this way. So after connecting the armhole, I'm going to impute the bust measurement, and on the waistline, I will impute the waist measurement, and on the hip line, which is the hem of our top, I'm going to impute the hip measurement. So hip divided by 4 is what I am noting down. So now I'm going to go ahead and connect it. So I've connected it, and this is what our top is looking like. So the next thing we'll be doing is to take our darts. So the dart I am working with is 4.25, which is 8.5. I have noted it down. And from the waistline, I'm going to go down with 6 inches. And I will go up with 6 inches. But because it's getting to the bust point, I'm going to come down from the bust point with 1 inch. And I will put down the 4.25. So now at this point, I'm going to go ahead and connect these dart points together. So I'm taking a dart of 1 inch, that is 0.5 from both ends. So I have done that already, and this is what our top is looking like. So we are progressing, guys. So now at this point, because I want a kind of fitting or snatching effect on the waistline, I am going to come out with 0.5. That is, I am picking just one of the darts. So that is what I have done here, and I've connected it to the bust point and to the hem of our top. So at this point, the next thing I'm going to do is to take the side bust dart. So the difference between the front and the back is 1.5. So I'm going to go ahead and mark out 1.5. That is for the side bust dart. I'll go ahead and connect it just as you see me doing. So I have connected it, and this is what we have for it. So now at this point, another important point I want to note down is the under bust, because I'll be doing a kind of contouring on the under bust area. So I'm going to go ahead and mark out the under bust line, which is what you are seeing now. So now that we are done with that, on the under bust line, I went in to contour this particular top with 1 inch. So I'm doing it on just one side of this area. Can you see it? So at this point, I'm going to connect it. From that point, I will connect it to that leg, just as you see me doing. So it's just one-sided, so please take note of that. I'm not contouring on both sides. I'm doing it on just one side of this top. So just to give our top a kind of what fitting, as if it's a bustier, but it's not a bustier. So this is what we have for now for our bust. So at this point, what I will do next is to connect it. I want it to have a princess dart. So I am going to go ahead and connect it to the armhole. So you can decide whatever point you want to connect your dart to. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to make a straight line this way. Can you see it? A curvy line. So now I'm going to go out with 0.5 and connect it to the chest line. So this is going to be our dart. So at this point, I'm also going to extend the neck width to 4 inches. I'm going to extend it to 4 inches, but before I do that, I'm going to come out on this shoulder point with 0.5 for seam allowance. I'm coming out with 0.5. I'm going up with 0.5, and I'm going to extend the neck width to 4 inches. Yes, like I said earlier. So after doing that, I will connect it both points this way. I'm also going to add 0.5 to the armhole area. That is for seam allowance, sewing allowance. I'm adding 0.5 to the armhole, and just go ahead and note it down this way, and I will connect it to the armhole. So when I'm done with that, this is what it's going to look like. Can you see? This is how it's going to look like. So I'm trying to extend that leg, the princess dart, so while joining, so we don't have what shortage on that point. So now the next thing I will do is to come over to the top of our paper. I will also go ahead and note down the 4 inches I used for the neck width. So I will make a straight rule this way. Can you see it? I'm going to connect it this way. So this is going to be our wing collar, like I mentioned earlier. So this is what we have for it. So what I will do next is, our paper is already folded. So I want all these darts to appear on the other side of our paper. So I'm going to go ahead and use a tracing wheel to trace out what I have done. So we're not going to be cutting on this paper yet until we trace out everything. So I'm going to use my tracing wheel to trace it out for it to appear on the other side of our paper. So after tracing it out, I will go ahead and cut off what we have drafted out this way, just the way you see me cutting it. This is what you are going to do. So now that we are done with cutting it, the next thing I will do is to go ahead and slash the dart leg. Can you see it? I'm slashing it so that we'll be able to close the side bust dart. If you do not slash it, you won't be able to close the side bust dart. So I'm closing the side bust dart this way. So now that we are done with that, I've cut out all that we have. So we just need one piece actually on this side, because we'll be placing it on fold while cutting it on our fabric. So this is what our collar is looking like, wing collar neckline. So now the next thing we are going to do, see the way I'm placing my ruler, I'm going to go ahead and make a straight rule. I want to determine what the length of the slit will be having on the wing collar. So I'll place my tape on that point I have ruled at and mark out either 7 inches or 7.5. Some persons go as much as 8 inches, so it depends on how revealing you want it to be, but I think I'm very okay with 7 inches. So I'm placing a mark there. We are not cutting it yet. So the next thing I will do is to slash from this shoulder point. I'll make a slanted rule to this other point, and this is what we'll be cutting off. For now, this is what we'll be cutting off. We're trying to get the shape for the wing collar neckline. So this is what we have for it, guys. Can you see it? So this is what our front of our wing collar neckline top is looking like. This is what we have. So like I mentioned earlier, the full length is what we have. I came down from the waistline to the hem to the hip point, so that is going to be our full length. So this includes the folding allowance, so I don't want to add extra allowance to the length, so that is why I am using that. So at this point, I'm going to keep this aside and we'll proceed with the back of our top. So this is what we have. I have gone ahead to place my paper. So now I went down with 1 inch to get the top line. So now at this point I have marked out the shoulder to the chest line, which is 9 inches, and the next point I'm marking is the shoulder to the bust point, although we actually do not need it. So after doing that, I went ahead to mark out the shoulder to the waistline. So remember, I mentioned that the difference between the front and the back is 1.5. So now 1.5 away from 18.5 will give us 17 inches. So I'm using 17 inches for the back half length. So from that point, I'm going to go down with 9 inches to get the hip points. So after noting it down, I will go ahead and connect what I have. Remember, this is going to serve as the hemline of the top that we are working with. Like I mentioned earlier, this is going to be the hemline. So now at this point, the next thing we are going to do is to impute the shoulder measurement, which is 7.5. I'm going to go ahead and note it down. I'll mark at 7.5 on the top, and on the chest line I'll do the same thing. So after marking at 7.5, I'm going to go ahead and connect what we have. So now that we have connected the neck width I'm working with is 3.5. I'm still going to adjust it later on. So I'm going to come down with 1 inch for the neck depth. I will go ahead and use my ruler to connect it. So for the shoulder slope, I'm coming down with 1.25. Doing that, I'll go ahead and connect the shoulder slope this way. So now that I'm done with that, next I will do is to place my tape on the armhole. I'll get the midpoint and note it down. Thereafter, I'll proceed to imputing the bust measurement on the chest line. Next I will do is to go over to the waistline. I will impute the waist measurement, and on the hip line, I'm going to go ahead and impute the hip measurement, which is 44 divided by 4. I will proceed to connecting all the points together. So I'm done connecting it, and this is what we have. So now the next thing I'm going to do is to get the back tightening. I'm going to be tightening the center back using 0.75. So I will get my ruler and connect it upward and downward this way, just as you see me doing. So at this point, because we're having a short of 0.3 there on the chest line, I'm going to go ahead and replace it back. I want to replace it back, so I will put downward the 0.3 that we took in after tightening the back. So now the next thing I will do is to get our dart. So I'm going to impute my dart of 4.25, and from the waistline I will go down with 6 inches to get what the dart leg. So I will take it downward to the hem of the top, and I will place my tape on the waistline also and go up with 6 inches to get my dart. And I'm also going to go ahead and impute the 4.25. So after doing that, I'll go ahead and connect the dart leg. So I've connected it, and this is what it is looking like, guys. Can you see our top is already what's taking shape? So now the next thing we are going to do at this point, remember we have tightened the center back. So I'm going to replace what we used for it, which is 0.75. Can you see it? I'm imputing it back. And to get our fitting, I will be taking one of the dart leg, which is 0.5, and replace it back. So that is what I have just done. I hope you understand what I am doing. So this is just to get what our measurement complete, and to give our top a fit in a kind of snatchy effect on the waistline. So I have done that already. So at this point, I'll go ahead and connect it, all the points I have noted down. I will take it downward this way to the hip line, and I'm going to connect it to the chest line. Can you see it? So this is what we have. So at this point, I've connected the armhole, and this is what we have for our dart. We're not going to be shaping the hem of our top. We'll just leave it this way. So I also want a princess dart at the back of this top. So you can, like I said earlier, you can use any point, either the midpoint, or you can come down, or you can go up with 1 inch. So now that we are done with that, the next thing I will do is that I'll be adding 0.5 to the armhole for seam allowance. I'm adding seam allowance on the armhole. I will do that for the armhole, and I'm also going to do that for the shoulder slope also. I've not added seam allowance to this top, so please don't get confused. I've not added seam allowance. I'm just doing this for the shoulder slope and for the armhole area. So at this point, I'm also going to go ahead and retake the neck width for the back. Remember, what we used for the front was 4 inches, so I'm going to be using the same figure for the back. So I've connected it, and this is what we have. So at this point, I will go ahead and cut out all that we have been drafting now. So this is it. I'm going to cut it out this way. So this is what we have after cutting it out for the front and for the back of all our pattern set. This is what we have. So I'm going to go ahead and place it on my fabric and show you. So I have cut it out on the fabric and I've added seam allowance to all areas that need was seam allowance. Like I said earlier, I maintained the same length. I did not add seam allowance to the length because it's already what okay for me. So I've gone ahead to cut out facing for the back, and this is what we have. This is the facing that we'll be using for the back. So I'm going to keep these pieces aside, the pattern papers aside, so that we'll see what we have. So what I will do first is I will go ahead and join the back. I'm going to join the back. So but before we join the back, this is what we are going to do. I'm going to show you what I did in front. So remember, this front, we are doing the wing collar, and because it's a wing collar, we're going to be having a facing on it. So guys, I cut out a facing that is long enough to accommodate the slits that I'll be having in front. So the first thing we are going to do on this facing and the fabric is that I am going to be using stay on it to reinforce that area. I'll be doing it on the facing itself and on the fashion fabric itself. You have to use stay on it. Please use stay and not paper stay. So at this point, I've gone ahead to join the darts for the back, and you see it, I've joined the darts for the back. So this is what I was trying to explain, that you should use what and the stay for your interfacing. And please, another thing I want to mention is that I used up to 2 layers, so you can use up to 2 or 3 layers of stay just to reinforce that area, guys. Please, if you use 1 layer of it, it will still not give what that result you want. So this is what we have for it, guys. So now the next thing we are going to do at this point is that I'm going to get my pattern paper. Remember, I told you about the slit we'll be having in front, that I'll be using 7 inches for it. So I'm going to place it on it this way to get that point. So before I do that, I want to also mark out the shoulder point. You have to notch that area. I'm just using biro on it, so please, you go ahead and notch what that area so that you'll be able to identify the shoulder point. So I'm going to use my scissors to notch it. So this is how it's going to look like after notching it, because while joining it, you have to know where to fold in. So now that we are done with that, the next thing I'm going to do is to get my ruler and connect where we'll be having our slits. So I'm going to use a biro to just take it down this way. You can go ahead and use a pencil or a chalk. So I'll draw a line this way. Can you see it? So now I'm going to get my tape and determine what the length. So like I said, I'm using 7 inches. You can use 7 inches, 8 inches. It depends on how exposed or how revealing you want it to be in front. So I'm still going to maintain the same 7 inches. So this is what I'm going to do. From the shoulder point, I will go ahead and mark out what the 7 inches. 7 inches, 7.5 is actually okay. So at this point, I'm going to mark out the area where I will be stitching on. Can you see how I'm placing my pen? This is how I am going to stitch it. So I'll be using what 0.5 at the top. And when I get to the area where I will slit, I am going to stitch it up to 3 times. So please stitch it up to 3 times. So I'm going to also go ahead and fold the hem of the facing. So I have stitched it, and this is what we have. I had to stitch up to 3 times so that we do not have any area that is ripping out. So this is what we have. Can you see? So I'm going to go ahead and use my scissors to open it up this way. So after opening it up, I'm going to go ahead and notch it so that it relaxes very well. So if after notching you discover it's not relaxing, please go ahead and notch it again. So after ironing it, this is what we have. Can you see how this looking like it's relaxing now? So if yours is not relaxing, please go ahead and notch it again. Then you go ahead and iron it out so that it relaxes very well. So I've also gone ahead to fold the hem of the facing. Can you see it? So at this point, you can use an hemming gum to iron it out on that space there so that it relaxes very well. So this is what we have for our wing collar. So now at this point, we are going to go ahead and join the dart legs together. So I've joined the dart, and this is what it is looking like. Can you see it? I've joined it. The next thing I'm going to do at this point is to go ahead and get the back of our fabric. Remember, we have joined the back already. So I'm going to be joining the shoulder point. So this is how I am going to place it. I'll be using the back neckline to fold on the shoulder this way. the back shoulder to fold on the front shoulder this way. Can you see it? So I will do the same thing at this other side. See why I said you have to notch that area so you have where to fold it with. So this is it. I'm going to go ahead and fold it this way and stitch it down. So I have stitched it down, and can you see it? This is what it is looking like. So at this point we are almost done with our top. I will go ahead and join the sides together. So whatever seam allowance that I added, I will go ahead and use it and sew it down. I'm also going to go ahead and fold the hem of this top. So for the sleeve, I cut out a very simple basic sleeve. That's what I'll be using for this top. So I'm going to go ahead now and fix the sleeve, and when I'm done with it, I'll show you what this top is looking like. So guys, this is the final outcome of our top. This is the final result of what we have been sewing and drafting. I love the final outcome of this top. You can rock it anyway. So this is our wing collar neckline. So please, if you find value in this tutorial, please don't forget to hit on that subscribe button and turn on your notification bell so that you get notified whenever I post a new video. Like and share my video, make your comment. Till our next tutorial again.